Disclaimer. The information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GANs processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
Detachment is the, or at least the A key, if not the key, no matter on what level one is at. If you want to get to the next level, you have to detach at least somewhat from the previous level in order to get to the next level.
I explained this. I used to teach children about the knowledge. If you understand the concept, you're going up a ladder. If you hold on the two pieces of wood, which you're holding with your hand, and hold on you put your feet on each, what do you call it, level. When you're mountain climbing, you can't go anywhere, you're stuck. You have to detach one hand from one bar to the bar above where your other hand is to be able to go up, to climb up. And that's detaching yourself. Trusting that the rest of what you have created will hold you on to go up this, what you call it, rock climbing ladder. And as long as you have that trust that you can detach yourself from anything else, because this could be the last time you're holding to something, because if the other hand lets go or your feet goes, you're gone. And this is the level of detachment. This is one of the best tests for a man for detachment. I don't know if you've ever done mountain climbing and pulling yourself off a ladder. It brings a lot of senses. You do it automatically. But if you stand still sometimes when a doubt comes into your mind, you go up automatically to the next one. But you have to be detached from it. If you don't let go of that hand, you're stuck in the middle of the mountain in on the climbing, what do you call it, ladder. And if you don't move your foot from one step lower to one step higher, you never move up, because it's that foot which pushes the weight up, that the trust, when I let go, the foot will come. And this is exactly like man. Trusting in, I'll be pulled up, I'll push myself up, and being detached. that handle on that bar you detach yourself from to go to the next way is exactly how your soul is. But that push of the leg is a trust in your knowledge, trust in correctness, which brings you to grab the next wall, next enlightenment, next step up. And in reality, that's a true detachment. You detach yourself with a trust that I'll grab the next bar. And I cannot reach there if at the same time the foot which pushing me, the knowledge which pushes me up to understand the enlightenment will push me up and be there. And if that leg slips, which is the lack of your understanding, you go down. That's what it is. So detachment has to come with the knowledge. Not just, oh, I give everything and then they come. I go with the knowing, the knowledge that the force to push me to the next level is within me to carry me. There is nobody there pushing your leg up to the next step. Then this is a very easy way to understand. Detachment has to come with the knowledge that there is a force behind it, that it reaches you to the next level. And in a way, if you look at the structure of the Keshe Foundation, it's built on this detachment. It's knowing that you're correct, knowing that you share the knowledge, and knowing you don't need to carry, because you know you have built the structure that it carries you forward to the next step to bring mankind to the next level of understanding. And in a way, this is how we run the Keshe Foundation, by total detachment. Knowing that the next step comes in on its own. Even we use the foot, knowing that it will land in the right place at the right time. And this is the structure of being detached and trusting in yourself that you have within you to understand what it means the next time, next step, next grasp. Any other question?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 562nd Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, October 31st, 2024. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation, Spaceship Institute, Education Department, and part of the Public Teachings in English. My name is Rick Crammond, and I'll be your host once again in this weekly series of workshops that's been ongoing for over 10 years now. And once again, we have Mr. Mehran Keshe as our presenter and guide through today's workshop. And I believe he's ready to go with the latest information and teaching for today. Hello, Mr. Keshe. Are you there?
Yes. Good morning, good day to you. As usual, whenever you listen to this series of knowledge seekers program from Keshe Foundation, Spaceship Institute. We are back, and with a lot of joyful time to come and a lot of things to be able to learn and to share. In the process of creation, mankind always has looked at the physical dimension and not on the dimension of the creation and how the two merges. Past few weeks we've shown how your body is structured through amino acid. That one part is a physical and one part is the universal energy. And in the physical part, you communicate with voice, with noise, with sight, with everything else, with kicking or whatever, that one knows you exist and what you're communicating. On the other side, which is the energy side, which is connected to universal line of energies where we are created to what I call, this is the string at the end of the balloon, which connects the balloon to somebody's hand or a source, a point, where the balloon is the body of the man, physicality of the man. We have to see how that side communicates. We visualize our dream. We visualize it because we have the coding system, which once the energy enters it, that decoding system creates its own image. And then we see it as dream, or we receive it as a noise, information, or whatever. This is what we do. We send a message down the computer lines, and then when it receives by the other side, the other end, it converts it to an image. Then we know this is what image the other side has sent. Or the interaction of the fields has created, we call it the noise or lines on the screen we see. Some of it is made by the person sending you the picture, and some of it is lines and noises which is made by the equipment itself, which is still manifests itself as an image on the screen. So our brain is an image converter from the energies which it receives, and man calls this a dream. When he sees the conversion through the eye holes, which comes through the eye neurosystem to the brain, we call it the image of reality of physicality. But unfortunately, the dimension of the energy fields of the universe, which work on the dimension of the energy side of the brain, is still interact with this material called the brain of the man. And each information, once it's done, has certain strength, which converts itself to the image of what we call the dream. Because now it's converted as energy. And we know what these energies are. One energy is the level of the mother, one energy is the level of a stone, the flower, and everything else, which our brain recognizes that. But how much of it does our brain deciphers, and some of it doesn't decipher because it does have no reference point to it. What does this mean? It is like, I spoke with the Chinese, with the eyes not centralized, one eye looks a slightly different way to the other, so the brain continuously decides which eye is giving the right information, and you recognize it as being. If you close the eye of a Chinese man, or a woman, which has this defects on the eye, and just try to carry them the information, they are in a huge dilemma. Because they trust the ears both to give the same, but they don't trust the eyes. Because it's automatically needs confirmation of. It's very easy to confuse the Chinese with the eye repositioning. It's extremely easy to do. Because they visually, what they see, the brain automatically by birth has recognized which picture is real, or mixture of the two gives them three-dimensional reality. It's the same with our brain. We receive the information in a three-dimensional, and then our brain deciphers. It's a decoder. And then during the day, that image is continuously there, but we have nobody working on that screen. It's like you've seen this new system that they put two monitors next to each other to make a half circle monitor. Nobody is watching the left, what they call monitor. You're only watching the right monitor, which is your physical dimension of life. If you learn to be able to monitor and watch both the screen at the same time, then the life becomes interesting. Because on one side, you have the physical dimension when you're looking, and one side is what we call universal energy dimension covered in the brain. This is what our transmutation at the moment is doing with a lot of knowledge seekers. They see themselves physically, but they go somewhere else in energy, but they're aware of the bodies still left. As our Australian friend wrote a couple of days ago, I was in Athens, I could feel, I could touch, everything was so real, but I knew my physical body is at home. This is the next step, to be able to create a trust in when you're in Athens, to call the physicality over, to give the trust that I can come back home. The reason you have watching one of the screens and both of the screens, due to the training you're getting from the Keshe Foundation, plus on top of what we naturally know, has to become a norm. In a way, I want to cross the road, I can see the car, I can see the drivers, whatever. Then I look at my energy side, which is connected to the energy side of the driver. Sorry, I'm thinking about my grandmother, I have no attention to the road, don't cross, to get the physicality to a stop, because I'm going to hit it, because the guy is dreaming somewhere else. And this is why suddenly you're crossing the road and somebody pulls you back. It's the energy side, the soul side, where with the driver's side that's coming, you pull it back. If you close your eyes and go into the repair condition, what we call sleep, now the left screen is working. And the information still comes. The brain has to decipher, you call it a dream. Man has not learned to use, to be aware, to collaborate the energy side with the physical side. And this is why man has a problem even in transmutation, because in watching the two screen, he has a problem, let alone bringing to be able to bring the left screen on the right side, and the right side on the left side, and collaborate the two to get one screen. Why do you need two? Why do you need two eyes? Man, in the passage of space, when it becomes man of space, you'll find many, many creatures use only one eye. Because the dimension of the trust in the line of the connection to universal energy and a physical dimension is one. Very few creatures, very, very few creatures in the universal community are like man with two eyes and everything in two parts because of the matter state of the, what we call it, the creation. Now, this is the problem we have with you lot. When we get you into the wellness system individually, and you are there to do something, we see the whole both side comes together. You read of one hymn sheet. When we put you in a group trying to transmute you or put you individual in transmission, the lack of trust eliminates the power of transmutation. How can you build this? How can you change this? How can you become the controller of the whole structure of your life? As one of knowledge seekers says, I was dreaming, and in a dream, I had a dream. In my dream, I was dreaming about such and such a thing. Now, imagine that. What does it mean? It means in the dimension of the energy of the universe, you still can dream. It's the extension of evolution in understanding. The way you dream in a physical condition through the soul of physicality and physicality, which has nothing to do with a connection to an universal line, the soul of the man has the same characteristics. In a way, through connection with the fields of the creator, the essence of the creation, sees the connection of what needs the energy level to do. Then you bring that at the same time hitting the, what I call the translator, the transformer of the energy, which is the brain of the man, to become information that you see a dream of a dream. And then at the same time, you have a dream of physicality. In the process of creation, this is part of the structure of understanding how you will be able to transmute and how you'll be able to transfer. A lot of people call it déjà vu in English, in French. That means, I've seen this before, I've been there, it's just like a repeat of. There's not a repeat of. There is nothing called, I've seen this before. You see what you think you've seen in the dimension and image of what your soul has seen. On the string attached to the physicality. And now you bring the two images together, then you say, oh, in physicality is what actually I've seen in the dimension of energy. But don't forget, it has a problem. The problem is, brain of the man is physical. The soul is aware of, inform the brain. Now physicality sees is a time delay. It's like when you speak on earth and the guy listens on the moon. You have a time delay. So what soul sees in the dimension of his energy, physicality sees in the dimension of physicality. And then you say, I've seen this before. It's like a déjà vu. Why? Now you understand. The speed of dimension of the universal energy is much, much stronger than the conversion in physical, which creates a time delay. If you understand this, then you can use this knowledge in transmutation. You see you're in Colosseum, you see you are in whatever, and you see your body in another position. Just reverse the process to call in to transfer energy of the soul of the physicality with you, the physicality will come. But you always have a trace back, as we saw in the ladder. You're always connected. The biggest problem is to transmute on this planet. The easiest problem is to transmute across the universe. The reason being is that in the physicality, you have to trust the physicality. In the energy, the connection is always connected to the point, which means you're always connected to DNA, to the atmospheric gravitational field of the Earth. Your soul trusts, but your physicality doesn't. That's why 99% of you cannot transmute. When you do part of it, you're still connected to physicality. You see yourself doing something, but you're aware my physicality is here, my body is here. I tell you a story that you might understand. I explained this before. Going through the life of the soul. I lived in desert for hundreds of years. One tree and one water well. Saw the man cross. So many men come and tap into the reserve of the water. Never saw me. They always saw an old man sitting by the well. He used to be called, if you go to the history of the man of the Bedouins, they call you the story of the water well of the old man. I watched many come and go over centuries. None ever understood where they are coming from, and none ever understood where they are going to. Even though I asked them, the only reference point they had was the city and a city destination. They never understood about the transmutation and their own soul. Where did the soul come from and where the soul is going to? I asked the question about the energy of the creation. They answered in the dimension of physicality of the man. Then it comes a point. You choose to move on. You choose to move to see when the time is right, is now I have to do, where we transfer the energy of the old man into the dimension of physicality of a young child to manifest in the dimension to complete what already another cycle of beginning has started that has to fulfill by the child. Then comes what child does in physicality is not what in essence does the man in the soul. If you understand this, you understand the process of transmutation and transportation and conversion. So for you knowledge seekers, that you're coming to this point is one thing is important. The point of the birth conversion from the energy to matter and the matter to energy. That cry of birth, that evolution of the time cross, that singing of the owl, all is the same thing. All refers to one condition, but with different stories that you might understand it at different level of the comprehension. In the systems of coming time, when you go through these tests on Fridays, once a month, we push you to that dimension. In a way, the next 3 sessions is the carrot to get you moving. The carrot is that on the level of energy, you can have everything you want. Why do you attach yourself to the dimension of physicality, which then it needs to kill to destroy? I give you the energy of the carrot, you create the image of the carrot in your brain, you receive the energy of the carrot, you don't need to destroy a carrot. You want a steak, I create that energy which hits your brain, you get the image of the steak, you enjoy yourself with it, then you don't need to kill. But the biggest problem is in the future, which we have to resolve. We know the solution, but you will have to do it. This is the time of transition. Even this carrot business in next 3 months is a transition. But if you don't learn it, you cannot go through the transmutation complete. What does this mean? It means once you come to the transmutation, in the universe, the food has no taste. The food has no image. It's not a cow, it's not a carrot, it's not a steak, it's not a pie. For the time being, we have to push you along till you get the confidence that you can drive without holding to the handle, without needing a car, without needing to put a fuel in it, which is your physicality, and the fuel of physicality, which is killing to get, where universal energy, you receive what you need, because the next creature doesn't look like a cow, it doesn't taste like a carrot, it does not need to be consumed, but its energy is giver, and you are the possessor. You possess love, which means you give from the root of the essence of your creation, which means Mehran, which means to give unconditionally with love of the Creator. If you understand this, you can transmute. If you understand this, you can feed yourself. If you understand this, the process of the creation will become to you as clear as the daylight. When you transmute, leave the physicality, if you don't see first that light, it means you're still in the dimension of physicality. Man cries when he's born. Soul, when it transmutes due to conversion of the field energy in interaction with its environment, creates light. I am the light. Because the light is me, is the essence of the creation, confirmation of my existence in the realm of the Creator. I'm the only one who sees the light. As I still have the confirmation of the physicality. You knowledge seekers need to step up to understand and bring that change. Live your beautiful life in physicality with your wife, your children, and everything else. And understand what is, what can, and how things can be. What does this mean? To you, does not necessarily means anything to anybody else. You are used to dreaming, and you're used to physical dimension. And in that process, none of you, in a way, due to condition of the structure of the brain, this light never, hardly you ever see. Because the brain has learned to deny it. So it doesn't exist. Because if you were in the physical dimension, and then you go into the position of the different field strength of the body of the man as an energy, when the, what we call the energy expands to cover the totality of operation in the visual dimension and even the sound dimension, our brain has learned to, in a way, when it sees this, clip it. Doesn't exist, because we do this even during the daytime. And when that clipping switch is not sequential and is not deleted, you call it deja vu. If operates in a direction and dimension of the energy, it becomes part of your life. And in a way, as I said, when you're crossing the road, is the field energy of the soul which pulls you back. It says, oh, somebody pulled me back. No, it's your own energy field which does not follow your physicality. How many times come to you that says something is holding me back? That guy behind you, that guy who doesn't allow you to cross, or something holds you back, is your soul. And to the interaction of blocking in this, what we call flashlight of conversion, you feed it at something else. You call it premonition. You have created so many words to justify our ignorance and not face the fact, the reality of the life, that the two sides, the energy side and the physical side, are the same. Next time you come to this point, try to cross it. Try to follow, be aware in dimension of physicality where the soul takes you. Not what you want to do. Then you'll see, you find gradually ways to transmute, because now you are doing the job of the soul. In a way, you're giving physical dimension to the action of the soul. Don't do crazy things, don't go and jump off a cliff, but understand that process. We have to take you through this process. We have to teach you this. Many of you come on the teaching, will understand, and through the energy we create within your field of universal dimension, you will connect to the body called physicality, and then you become the teachers of the others through the same dimension of field strength. It's like, we know we do not eat a fruit which is red in the jungle. It can kill. This become part of our second part. Transmuting, transferring, trusting the energy of the soul of the man has to become accepted, and accepted by the man, because it's not the second part. It's always been there. It's you who's been denying it. It's very much like, as I said many times before, 30, 40 years ago, when you used to walk on the street, people used to talk to themselves and make faces with themselves and raise their hands, and we used to call them the crazy. Now 80% of the population is crazy, because you got the headphones in your ear and you're talking on the mobile phone. Have you watched somebody when he talks on the mobile phone? The hand goes, the mouth goes, the shouting comes. So you already have accepted this new condition of what we call mental condition. You all become crazy. We have accepted, we have something in our ear, and it brings the information, and we convert it, and we show all physical dimension to it. We even run, and nowadays they bring you these glasses that you think is so real that you jump off the table and break your leg, where you think is on the reality of the image. In a way, mankind has been made ready for transmutation by the carrots of the mobile phone, by the stake of the new I units and acceptance of the telephone in 1844, gradually we are giving you that carrot to believe that you don't need to have anything in your hand. Soon there'll be a little pin in your ear, you don't need even to carry the phone, and then it goes with everything else. As telephones in 1980s used to be the size of a briefcase, now is a pinhead. Now we accepted it. Now we develop technologies which transfers energy in the energy of the universe, that man can switch between the energy and what we call physicality. In a way, as I said, the carrot and the stick is that dimension and the system, which we call it the universal matter energies, which we have put in the market for you, and many of you have bought it. They're going to be going out in the next few weeks. This is a part process of that system. In the teaching of next 2 or 3 months, we give you the carrots, as we said, it's the feeding, in introducing how to tap to the energy of the universe, and with these, what we call cosmic ray bottles, or what we call the balls, in your hand, we teach you the process of transmutation. If you had that disc with a hole in it, with that ball in the center of it, then you understand more about the world of creation. I use the carrot and the stick. You don't learn, we go back, we do more, we come back, we explain more. But the process of creation has to come through the fields. Understanding by emotion and not by touching with the physicality and emotion of what we call solar physicality. With these new balls and the new technologies which we are putting into the system, we start the process of transmutation using universal links, detached from dimension of physicality. The ganses still hold you on to schizophrenic of the universal energy and the matter state. The, what we call cosmic dust, which comes in the ball, is to connect you with the dimension of the fields of the universe. There's a very interesting point when you get these balls. Watch how the material disappears. You think I lost most of it. And watch how it refills up again. You tap into, you take the energy, you use the reserve, you leave it, it will fill up, because its characteristics, it fills up with the fields of the universe, which is needed. And then you see, oh, it was half full, today is full. These balls, if you manage to get 2 of them, and hold them in a position and place them in a position which will teach you as we come into it next year, will bring you to the dimension of the fields of the universe and the completion of the transmutation. You have to understand your 2 part of connections, physical dimension, which is the nitrogen and oxygen, your universal connection, which is a hydrogen and carbon. And they have to be in balance with each other. When you increase one, What energy goes when you decrease one, what energy comes in. And this creates the condition of the physical side or transmutation side or the energy side. In the coming weeks and in coming months, slowly, step by step, I'll take you through this process. November session is beginning of that carrot. Then the universal balls after the new year is trying to connect you to tap into universal energies and understand how much you take. In a way, the carrot, the steak, the meat, the milk is in that ball. How much you give to take and how much you convert to, in a way, bring together within your own physicality, or you let the physicality go to a new dimension. Understanding the world of creation according to the man is not just its rocks, animals, and the stars. Is understanding what man does not see as anything, which is another 95%, which is to you is all empty space, which is in fact is more energy there than actually in the planetary system, in the stars and the galaxies, in the matter state observation of the man. You have to understand the process of the light. You have to understand the process of the creation in the matter state and the creation in the energy state, what we call dimension of the world of the creation. And then you come to understand the process of both is the same, but a different strength. And you have a transition line, which brings the four elements of the creation and manifestation together. And then it brings in the emotion, and then it brings in the creation, then brings the soul, and then for itself, it brings it back to the world of the creator. You got to understand, as you have a physical dimension in the body of the man, in the matter state side, you have a dimension of the soul in the energy side, depending on carbon 14 and depending on carbon 60, which is the crystal structure manifestation of the strength of your soul. As you have a physical life, you have 6'2", blue eyes, God knows what, black skin and the rest of it. You have a dimension and size in the soul or universal energy side of your body. Because by existence of the hydrogen and carbon 14, in the dimension of motion of its fields, which is the creation of its own carbon 60, your soul has a dimension and a field and a strength and a color, which identifies you as you. Now that you will not carry the dimension of physicality. You got to understand, if a man from planet Zeus sees your physical dimension, he will run, never seen somebody with 2 legs and 2 arms and 2 eyes. But it sees the beauty of your carbon 60 created by the strength of your soul, which sees the beauty of it. What it gives and how much little it takes. Then, to me, you're a danger in the strength of the field, or to me, you're a friend, because I cannot give you too much. I destroy myself. Or as a friend, I can give you as much as you like because I have more, I gather more. So it comes to you as knowledge seekers. You are familiar with standing in front of the mirror to your physical dimensions. Now you have to find a mirror to see the beauty of the field, the strength of your soul. And there is nothing more than the mirror of the universe. Nothing more than interaction with another soul. To see your true strength. Am I always a taker because I'm still infant? Or am I given that I'm matured, that I can support? I made man in the image of myself. I have no physicality, but I feel and I live in the strength of the fields of the universe. This is a dilemma for you knowledge seekers to sort out. I give you the stick and the carrots of the fruits and vegetables in next 2 or 3 months that you learn that energy can come. Then I drop you in the deep end in after, what do you call, February, March, in universal field energy through the cosmic bundle ray packages, the balls which many of you have taken. That this is the carrot and the stick of the physicality, that's the carrot and the stick of universal energy. That how you transfer and how you transmute, how you create a dimension of the fields of your physicality, and what you see your soul size and dimension will be, will change your life in a dimension of physicality to strengthen, to increase, is what we call giving potential, or the love for the creator. Some of you, when you mature to a point, you will use the world of physical, trying to elevate the soul of physicality and then the soul of the man, which you will understand you can do that by taking energies of the universe in one dimension through the soul of man, soul of physicality of the man, through the physicality of the man to elevate the soul itself. Now you understand. When you become that star, when your dimensions created by the interaction of the fields of universal link of your body by hydrogen and the carbon-14, then you know your position in the universe. Then you know what you will create as children of the man in the dimension of the soul in the universe, where, how you will see the dream of the dream, that where my position will be, what I shall achieve, and what I achieve is not to my expectation. I have to give more. So I abide by the rules in the dimension of physicality to make a better, what I call bulb. If you remember, I explained about the tulips. Now, when this bulb sits in another position, creates the most beautiful flower of the creation of the Creator. Image of an image. Dream of a dream. But the reality in the dimension of the field of universe. In a way, go back to part of the teaching. I said, you care about your children, how they eat, how they get educated in the dimension of physicality. Now you become aware of the strength of field of your soul, and you're there. How do you replenish? How do you give it the strength that the children of your soul, which become creator of another cycle of life, is in your hand in the dimension of physicality? How do you want those children to be? Children of man to kill, or children of the creator to give? And this is your dilemma. Many of you will face this, and many of you will take a dimension of transition and transportation to bring that dimension. I use my physicality to take the energy from the universe the purest way that allows me to feed my soul to become that perfect condition that in creating the children of my soul, I shall not commit no wrong. And I create the children which befits the Creator. Now you understand. I have laid out the path to the teaching of the future today. And how you will be there, and many of you will follow and be there to be completed. In this process, you understand how important it is to keep both sides pure and correct. That one does not take from the other, and one does not give to the other that is too much, becomes the stagnation and the demise of the other. In the process of coming times, you learn more about yourself and how close you've been to your soul, and how you deny that access, and how you can establish new lines of communication between the two sides, that you live a perfect life. Maybe you can watch in the dimension of physicality through a sense of the conversion of information, how your soul, as you went to atom to see the atom, you see its position in the universe, what will create, and how beautiful the children of your soul as a star, as a galaxy will become. You don't need to dream, I have a house and I have children on this planet. You can see the reality of the dream of the field of the, what we call the soul of the man. And no one can interfere. There are no prophets, there are no gurus in this process. The teachers, we show you, we teach you the path. It's you who have to decide. A physicist, a criminal, a president, and which one at each level you stay correct to yourself. These are the title of the man. In the universe there is only one title, the creation and the created. Understand the process. And in the coming time, I try to teach you, as I said, I connected you to the path where you come. Now I laid out the program of the future of the Keshe Foundation. How step by step we bring that elevation. It's not just you knowledge seekers who listen. Millions of people in the future will listen to the dimension of soul and elevation of it, to the teaching of today and in past times, and gradually walk away from the dimension of physical pain of the man. As I said, it's your responsibility. You know it and you cannot deny it. How you reach it is your problem. Keshe Foundation is not to sell a pillow, a candle, a soap and the rest. But this is how we can keep you to understand the transfer of energies, how energies are transferred to your soul, to your hand, to your eyes. Everything, knowingly or unknowingly, within the structure of the Keshe Foundation is set to elevate your soul and dimension of physicality. The pillow you buy from the foundation, you put on the head on it, elevates your soul, elevates your physical dimension, is filled up with ganses of that order. The light you see as candle is the light of the Creator, because within it we have placed the materials of the creation, the field energy. Now you understand, step by step. We're taking you there, but you've been on this path for 4 billion years. To change it overnight is impossibilities. But gradually, step by step, we get you there. I hope you understood the purpose of the teaching of today, and I hope you understood more about your, what I call twin energy part. And I hope you use it the correct way to elevate the strength of the fields of your own creation and create. We go for a small break and we come back and hopefully we'll be able to enlighten you.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Okay, we will have some ads here for Keshe Foundation products and be back in about 5 minutes.
The new Vertical Enhancement Spaceship Unit. A plasma space technology to prepare humanity for transportation and transmutation in deep space. Essential processes are embedded to prevent mutations and psychosomatic conditions during deep space travel. This new system is designed to support upper body conditions, especially of the lungs and intestines, and can be targeted specifically for each organ. When inside the Vertical Enhancement Spaceship Unit, the body experiences balance in totality, enabling it to correct and rebalance all the fields within itself. The new Vertical Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a dimension in health and transportation never seen before.
The new Horizontal Enhancement Spaceship Unit, a space technology that allows you to work with the fields of the universe. Creating a wide range of plasma field interactions and conditions, it allows the body to process itself from any physical or emotional imbalance. Once this balanced condition is achieved, the soul and emotion of the man can follow to find their balance, elevating the whole of the man. the new horizontal enhancement spaceship unit. Technology of the future through advanced plasma knowledge.
Okay, back again at the 562nd Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, October 31st, 2024. Well, Mr. Keshe, would you like to carry on with our second half here? And people will have an opportunity to ask questions, I presume, and our attendees can raise their virtual hands if you do have a question that you'd like to speak, and we can allow your microphone to open, and others can put questions in the webinar chat or the YouTube chats. Go ahead, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much. A couple of announcements we have to make. We made the announcement that tomorrow we'll have the second addition to the what we call October Friday sessions. We had a number of knowledge seekers telling us that tomorrow is the 1st of November and is what we call the Day of Remembrance of the Dead. And many of them will not be available. So we are shifting this Friday to next Friday. And I do apologize, we should have noticed that being in Europe. As you know, on the 1st of November, it's a national holiday in many countries in Europe for remembrance of the dead. And we moved this to next week because many people go to cemeteries and churches and whatever. And so we do the session next week. Regarding the Iranian conference, as you're aware of the situation which is prevailing at the moment in Iran, we have to suspend the Iranian situation at least till January, till we have a clear idea how the Iranian position and the situation in Middle East stays. The conference will be held, and if in January we cannot reach, we'll appoint a new country to replace Iran, which we hope it will not be done. In any case, we are forging ahead, and the situation is very critical, especially in the next few days. And we'll see what happens and how things take shape in Middle East. In respect to the material which many of you, what we call the cosmic materials, now what we call the containment, the box is sorted. We expect the manufacturers to deliver what we call the boxes, that sometime in the next 3-4 weeks we start shipping this out, that will be there, most of you, by the time before Christmas or around Christmas. Please, when you receive these boxes, when you receive your ball, do not continuously work with it. Leave it in its box the way it is. And when you need it to energize, just open the box and leave it open. It'll find its own balance. I carried 2 of these materials in a container for a few weeks, and I observed the changes, the energies, and how they interacted with each other. When you receive these, please do not take them as a toy. These are actually tools of the man-next process of communication, transportation, and transmutation. We teach you step by step what to do with them as we go along, as you mature. One point for most of the knowledge seekers to remember is we are here to bring a new technology and new knowledge and new insight. We are not here to make systems for electricity or whatever, even that's a carrot we carry you forward to the next step. And please be aware what you understood, what you understand, and how much your understanding has changed from the time you came in touch with the Keshe Foundation. How much your soul has elevated, how much your knowledge has increased. And then you understand there is a capability for every man in respect of the what we call financial position or society position to elevate himself, his own knowledge, his own understanding about his own creation. And put these together in a way that it besuits and befits your soul, not your physicality. If you have any questions, we try to answer. And if I remember anything as usual, I jump out and tell you.
Okay, very good. Well, we have a hand up here, so I always like to address the live audience here first. So this is from Dankin. Dankin is up here. I believe that's the name. I can allow you to speak. Can you open your microphone and go ahead? If you could say who you are and where you're from. That is, if you deliberately wanted to raise your hand. I will ask to unmute and click on that to see if that works. Hello, Dankin. You have to open your microphone. Oh, he's responded in it's Italian or what, but I have to translate. Bear with me a minute. Oh, he says, we are here to ask questions about GANs, and I am happy to meet you all. Okay. Well, you could post your question in the chat, or if we had an Italian translator, we can do it that way. Maybe it's coming down the line with Stefania. I'm not sure. In any case, got a couple of other translated questions as well. Let me see. We had a question from, oh, I see the question from Dankin previous. Just let me get that translated again here. Let's see. From the French to English, says, I have a question. When I go to teach people how to make GANs, these people ask for 2 acres of a farm. How close can the GANs be in the farm? If the GANs and the farm are a kilometer apart, can the GANs still help this farm?
I think if you're French, you speak to our, what do you call it, French contingency in farming. And they can tell you how much you can go and how far. You can't put them kilometers apart unless you have a special technology and you don't use GANSes, which is a different technology which is developed by Keshe Foundation. The dimension and the strength of the field is how much you and what the strength of the GANs you have produced for what purpose. And if you put one drop on 1 kilometer and another drop in another 2 kilometers away, they're still connected, but the field strength of the connection is important, and if you don't have it, you can't establish it. It's not there. We have shown this in tests in China, in Mongolia, how the curvature of the field drops from the field strength of the GANs, to what extent. Years ago, when we did a test in Mongolia, I share. In trials in Mongolia, we had a land of 100-meter long. It was divided to 3 parts, more or less. This was where we introduced the gas, and this part was when it was grown naturally. 33 meters apart, roughly. 20-meter length on this way. This is known as 1 mole, 660 square meter in Chinese. Everything is measured in mole. Gas water was given to this part. What we saw was production, this level, and it didn't drop by the edge where we didn't water. It carried on to the point here. This showed us, because we measured the harvest on both ends, the harvest, even though you're not using gases in this area, the field still transfers across. So if you take a land and you put a gas in this corner, and you harvest, you put another gas from the other end, there will be a connection. But again, it's a field difference and a material difference, and the change is not that big. The new technology we developed is actually, we do not deal with this process. We deal with what we call the amino acid of the what you call the seed, the plant. And it's totally different technology, different understanding, and the harvest is totally different. The energy you get from the harvest and the emotion you get from the new way of harvesting is very, very different. And you cannot put it by the answer of kilometer or meter. You can put the maximum range you get with watering is a few meters, if that. Any other question? Would you like to change the screen? I hope I will answer this question. If you want more about farming, and especially here in France, we have the knowledge seekers who work extensively in agriculture in France. Get in touch with them and they can guide you that you do it the right way. Any other questions?
Okay, thank you. Let's see here. We have a number of questions from Claudia, from her community, with the Brazilian community.
Yeah, I think they sit and just create questions, don't they?
Well, they do produce them. So she is somebody who ponders life and does get involved with the questions. One question she had, I don't know if it was directly from her or from one of her people. What can we do with tritium?
Not much you can do, but we can do a lot with. But again, tritium is in the energy level, and tritium in the GaNs level, energy as a matter state. Each one has totally different properties and application. Tritium in nuclear is highly radioactive. Tritium in GaNs technology is an energy source, but you have to know how to use it. It needs a deep understanding of nuclear physics. And in the other hand, tritium for other application like transmutation, transportation, is a technology which is not in the hand of the mankind today. Not much you can do, you can just produce it. But if you manage to produce tritium as radiation, plasmatic radiation, then you reach a breakthrough in the world of creation. We do that in our lab. We create tritium condition as a field. We are good at it. We know exactly what we do, and we use it for specific applications.
What about the tritium that has come from the Fukushima reactors that they're
These
still,
are
they've
radioactive.
stockpiled, they have these huge tanks and hundreds of them. They stockpiled the high tritium water. Now, it seems to me that if you had a big container of tritium water like that, you would do something useful with it rather than release it into the ocean. Could you not create a small reactor and use the tritium energy from that water and be able to make it
The,
safe at the same
that,
time?
that is a technology needs to be understood, and actually has been discussed by our team in the past 24 hours. In a way, because the tritium in Fukushima is not the tritium, it's just a game played at the moment because they have to play that game. It's getting continuously replenished, even with the other bits getting done. It creates white nano gold for the Japanese royal family in a stock of the, what they call Japanese reserve. They know how to do it. Technology was given to them and then converted to an American organization in California. And so they know what to do with it. If you use as a nano GaNs gold, it has a lot of applications, but these people are not aware of it. They just collect it because it's worth millions of dollars a gram. But in essence, these waters in Fukushima, why haven't they added any more tanks to it after the first batch of 1,400? Reactors were still running, and the material was getting more and more produced. What happened to it? You just got to think what they give you. These tanks, once we gave them the conversion, are still getting used to produce this material, but they don't know what to do with it. It's sometimes we haven't seen this 1400 become 2800 after 2014, 13, 14, when we got involved with it. It stayed at 1400. But the reactors, problem with the reactors carried on. They still have this radio. Where is it going to? They don't feed it back straight away. They feed that these materials into these tanks, converted, and as it's a clear water, they don't even need to declare it to anyone because it's pure water going out, and it's always there. So it gets used, but converted, but they don't know how to use it.
Okay.
Sometimes when you see things in news, you hear, just use a little bit of your common sense and your understanding. If within the first few months they kept on building 1,400, each one holds 400,000, suddenly why does it stop? Why not building any more of these, and they don't release any material into the sea? But the reactors are still running. They've been running since 2014. They just speed it up, convert it, clean water, nobody complains, and they found a way to put it into rivers because it has no radioactive contamination. We haven't seen any increase in the 1400 tanks which was built at the time. Every week they had to build and build 2 or 3 to catch up. What happened? You stopped. And happily we don't see 3, 4 or 5,000 of these tanks across Fukushima. You stop, because now they use those tanks for the conversion, but the reactor never stopped producing overnight, and then, what do you call it, tritium and the rest of it. We open the door of knowledge, and you know how governments cheat. And what is in the hand of position of them? You ask yourself a simple question. How come in the first 2 years of Fukushima, 3 years, we built 1400 and suddenly stopped from the time Keshe Foundation got involved? The reactors haven't stopped producing. The damage didn't repair. You cannot stop water going into the fuel rods, because otherwise you have another explosion and meltdown. So what happened? And why did it stop at 1400? Next question.
Okay, thank you. Let me see. Claudia has a couple of other questions. Is there a structure or device to measure the plasma fields?
Yes, but you need to create another plasma to understand it, to be able to measure the dimension of it, the fields of it, the strength of it, and how you create it, and what field it creates, and how it manifests itself. We saw this clearly in the past 4 weeks. The Keshe Foundation technology was clearly used by the Iranian government on horizons of the Tel Aviv. Let me explain to you, and then you see the measure of the fields. You can go on the internet and watch this video, or if I can share with you some photos which we noticed as attack was taking place, we were observing the position of the lights and everything else, and now somebody has put on the internet, we can speak about it, and then you see how the technology has changed and how the technology changes. I show you a sequence which is important to understand the sequence, and then I show you other pictures with it. I'll send a link to Rick, but I don't know if we can show it or not.
Do you want me to show that
no,
image?
I'm showing it. I put the image up now. We can link.
I cut out the image if you want that.
Yeah, it's okay. I show you this. If you see, this light suddenly appeared on the, what you call, the skies of Tel Aviv on the 1st of October. Few seconds later, this light appears, 2 of them. You can see the horizon, the Tel Aviv burning in the background. Those lights at the back, in the front, you see the city. In the background is where literally the city was on fire. Few seconds later, we saw the 3 lights, star formation. These 3 lights took their position. These are Keshe Foundation Space Development Technology. Iranian military calls it the light system. They move into action and see what happens. You see the lights, dotted lights, these are anti-aircraft, or what you call anti-missile defense technology of Israel. You see the gap. I don't know if I can write on it. I don't know if I can animate. You see there is a gap between the main light and the first light, and cannot go any closer. And we saw how all these lights literally buried, disappeared. They never got real to this. You see them again here in the second picture. They created a field, and now you see they increase the field that they don't come any closer. You see the gap between the first and the second picture. This is the first time ever Keshe Foundation plasma technology is shown by the Iranian scientists in creating magnetic field shielding. Military-wise, I'll explain to you in the future why they were employed for the first time. This is the fear of the West. This is the technology which, for the first time, Iran warned about technology they have in their hand. And this is why we saw this horizon in Tel Aviv. All the anti-aircraft, all the anti-missile system, all the dome was, or whatever they shot at was observed. Even they use X-ray laser beam, they were diverted. And this is what we saw, what Israelis claimed to be so safe. There was no Iron Dome. And since this time, we've seen Hezbollah has had a lot of success hitting northern Israel and the rest of it. I have advised and I have recommended to the Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran and Iranian government, instead of going for war, open this technology this week to the world public and create peace with it. This technology is extremely advanced and belongs to Keshe Foundation. We developed it in Iran. You can see the distance. If you watch the video of this, you see exactly the shielding. The distance these things cannot, as they come near to the certain point, they just disappear. If we go with this technology, nuclear warheads, everything else is obsolete. I have requested from Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran in the past few hours to stop the war and release the technology. We have shown it. We are not talking about, we're going to show it. You see the fire on the ground, the bases of the Israeli army on fire. This is the lights you see in the background, and we have so detailed. You got to remember, as I said to the Iranians, Israelis show satellite figures from Americans, what they hit. They don't show the satellite figures of the ground, which was wiped out on the 1st of October. A wife does not leave a husband if he could secure the wife. Netanyahu's wife has left Israel this week because he cannot secure his nation and his wife is fleeing. If Iran decides to go for retaliation of the 26th, we will achieve a lot. We'll destroy half of the forces, maybe hundreds of thousands of the Israelis with the Palestinians who live in Israel, or we open the door of the knowledge and show, as you see, the star formation on the horizon of Tel Aviv 30 days ago. I especially kept this away from public. You go and see the videos on the internet, you see the live of this, how these anti-missiles never reach and they just disappear, depending on the fields and how the two system adjust itself, how you increase distance between the star formation. Now, for the first time, you see the beauty of a technology. which in a way we developed it to stop meteorites and the rest to come to planet Earth to endanger us or in high-speed travel to keep us protected. These are not made up images. These are the images which the Israelis posted on their own internet, and it was banned immediately that Iran possesses the most advanced technology. This is the reason when I told you I had 80% of the answer, we are still there. And then you have to understand the process of the technology can be used for peace and for Iran to open its technology worldwide immediately. We are the owners of the technology as Keshe Foundation, and you are part of it. And now you see the beauty of it. There's a restriction on YouTube. If I Rick checks and can bring, so few people have put this up on the internet in different form in their chats. If we don't break the law, there is actually live transmission of it by CNN. You see how this barrage of the, what do you call, missiles disappear and within the vicinity, never reaches it. Gravitational magnetic field, interaction of the field with the atmosphere create light. You wanted to see the application of the Keshe Foundation was shown in strength, 1st of October 2024. More or less, about a week here and there, just about 16 years after technology was transferred to Iran. And left Iran in 2008. You see, star formation is beauty and its power to stop the latest weapon technology. And we've seen how this has brought a gap. The Iron Dome has become rusted and penetrable. As I said, we know the collaboration between the West and Israel. There are no match to this technology. You're all familiar with this. Now we see the star formation on the horizons of the Tel Aviv. So what will be the future in the next few days is how Ayatollah of Iran will take our advice and open the technology worldwide and divert the whole war into a new technology dimension. This has a lot of application. This has a lot of implication. This makes nuclear weapon obsolete. This makes the most latest defense technology of American and Israelis all obsolete. And don't forget, in this day, on the 1st of October, using this technology, the whole defense technology of Israel, the Iron Dome broke down, that they had to go to America and ask for THAK system. That needs 100 Americans to be there to do it, to safeguard Israel. And even with that they brought in, Hamas is bypassing, and we've seen hundreds of Israeli soldiers were killed in the past 2 or 3 days. Because the dome, the system control, through the introduction of this new technology, has brought an end to the most sophisticated systems they ever thought they had. As I said to one of the knowledge seekers, on the 1st of October, the technology showed its power, its beauty, that no advanced technology is needed. The space has become open to man and how we do it, and has made the latest weapon technology of the Americans and the Israelis and the rest obsolete. You got to realize a thief is a thief by nature. The Americans are bringing this THAK system with Cortec to Israel. They brought 2 or 3 systems of it to protect it, and they find it is obsolete because it's literally bypasses by this system whenever they are used. But they stole this technology from the Americans and they tried to say it's theirs, but when it got obsolete, they brought the Americans find out with their system are obsolete. But the most interesting thing is Israelis can put out S-300, which is the Russian defense technology, which is given to Europe. And the Iranians with this technology can obsolete the American defense technology. So what's the use of fighting? What's the use of all this mayhem? And I recommended Abu Qasr al-Khamenei of Iran in the past few hours to open the technology and change the course. I know His Eminence Al-Khan of Iran and his team are on the line and listening. With this technology, we do not need to attack. We need to bring shame to the knowledge of weapon technology when the beauty of this can be shown. And if you understand it, this is 3 different vehicles. It's not just one. So it means technology is repeatable and needs to be kept in the formation to create that dome. You know, in the star formation, you create a spherical dome. So is this. And this is what is important to us as knowledge seekers. And if the world scientists understand what happened on the, what we call 1st of October 2024, on the skies of Tel Aviv, many of you will stop the war. It's very simple. You see the distance and you see how they become impossible to penetrate. And you can create a dome. And Ayatollah Khamenei in the past 24 or 48 hours has said Iran will release the technology, will change the course. They'll be the weapon technology of this technology. I know their capability, and I have requested to step back and to open technology to bring shame to the Americans and the Israelis. We can take you out in 1 second. And it's not a talk. This is the horizon, skies of Tel Aviv on the 1st of October 2024. 2 strangers that just lights, to you knowledge seekers, it's a star formation. It didn't appear on the line next to each other, they didn't appear in a circle. They completed a star formation which needed to create a dome to allow interceptor missiles to arrive in Tel Aviv and do their job. And they can create hole in them when they feel like it. That's what you see at the bottom. Estimated losses by the Israeli armies is in thousands. That's why they're censored. Now, I wanted to see the technology. I kept these pictures, these images from CNN, from the World News, showing it live during the attack. And now that it's become public, you can see that it's not from us. technology is delivered. Is the leaders who have to apply it for peace or for destruction. Hours before teaching this morning, I put my case to harmony directly. I don't advise to attack. I don't advise to get defeated. I advise to open a new technology that we don't need to talk about it because we have already shown its power. You got to realize even this technology, which you see in the sky of Tel Aviv, is obsolete to the advancement of the technology in Keshe Foundation today. So now sits in the hand of Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran. We go from 1 line to 2 or to 3, and we show no weapon can stand. It serves its purpose, and it was created to stop meteorites, asteroids, to hit Earth or in time of trouble for man. And Iran used it to stop, create that hole that allows the mayhem on the horizons of Tel Aviv. As I said, a woman leaves a man when he cannot secure the safety of the woman. And Sarah has left Tel Aviv because his man cannot secure his nation. There is no guarantee because they know what was on the horizon. Any other question?
Okay, thank you for that. We have a hand up with Dean here, if I can find his hand again. There we are. And go ahead, Dean.
Thank you, Rick. Good morning, Mr. Keshe. That was very beautiful news. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. And as a knowledge seeker that's been awaiting the technology to be released for a very long time, it's beautiful to see this on the screen. That the capability, we always knew the capabilities, but it's beautiful to see that the knowledge is now being shared. That there's no denying it anymore. And that's the real beauty of it. So we have to go forward, and we know now that the Iranians and the world will have to take a new position in this very moment. Mr. Keshe, we're talking about the wars here. With those, with that star formation being in position or had been in position, how does that change the actual emotions of the people that were underneath it or around it? Will it affect them?
This has a certain limitation of the field transfer and is built for a different purpose. If you use the same structure and same but different loading, you can feed the nation. People underneath Tel Aviv could be changed not to feel hungry, change their emotion. Yes, it can be done. It's the purpose of it.
So, Mr. Keshe, so I mean, I was part of the transmutation test a couple of weeks ago, and I experienced some things like remote viewing and a few other things. And then I came out of this situation, and I suddenly was back into physicality, very awake and sat up, and I thought, oh, well, and I thought I need to go back. And then I remembered to put a magrav I had, and I put it underneath the bed. And then I led with the magrav underneath me. Then I experienced something totally different that I wasn't expecting. And I don't know if you wanted me to disclose this on in the open now, but it wasn't what I was expecting. I actually
okay. Explain. You come this far, you better jump the cliff.
Okay, so it was. It felt to me, or I was very, very. You know, when you're in a dream or you're present, I was very, very present, and I was with a group of. I presume they were men, walking up some stairs in a building, and they all had green army suits on and helmets. And I think a couple of them had some sort of something in their hands. I don't know what it was. I mean, I was behind them, walking up the stairs with them, and then, but it was very. I was there in the moment, and I just I didn't know why this would take position at that type, in that moment, because I wasn't expecting to be thrown in. It didn't feel like it was. I'm not sure where it was, to be honest. I'm not sure where I was, but it wasn't something I was expecting. That's for sure.
Yeah, but then you've got to realize, yeah, depends what field you create around you.
Hmm.
And especially with the cosmic materials, which now we're releasing, you create the dimension of the space. With magraphs, you create dimension of matter state because you're in the field of the materials. Then you have to understand in what fields you're connected with, what you connected with. And is this something you wanted to, or is it something it came to you? This is why in the coming time, when you think you want to be, for example, in New York from where you are now, because you said the destination is where you want the soul be, the soul is there to satisfy the emotion of the physicality. And this is how you learn gradually to transfer or transmute. It's very simple. I explain this, I try to explain it more in a simpler way. You stand on the line. We see it in races on the racetracks, on the athletic racetracks. And you are posed to run. Or they put the same line, you're posed to walk, or walk faster, or do a fast run, or fast walk, or you try to jump from that line, running to jump. So you decide in your head, or the person, or we do, when I take the next step towards where I want to go, I run, I walk, I jump, whatever, get in the car or whatever. Because I know the destination, I decide how to go there. You go out of the house, we're going to the shopping center, you say to the wife, I walk. She says, I take the car. The child says, I take the bicycle. But because we all know the shopping center is the destination, we all end up there and we see each other. Somebody has to wait us. Wife took it 5 minutes to get there. The bicycle takes 10 minutes. You're walking in half an hour, but they all hang around there till daddy arrives. But destination is known. Because you decided and you targeted and you achieved it. It's the same when it comes to transmutation. You decide the location. Then you decide, I go physically with a car, or I go through transmutation, transferring the energy of my physicality into my soul, or physicality to my soul, I'll be there. In a way, you'll be there instantaneously waiting for the wife to arrive in 5 minutes. And this is how you will learn to know where you are. And these people, you say, I don't know, they were green, they were not. You learn through energy of the soul in the dimension of the what you understand is English, it could be Chinese guy or whatever, to interact, to clarify who you are, where you are, who these people are. And then bring it back to the translator, converter, what I call the brain, and this guy says, oh, I'm from planet Zeus, and this and that. So you, next time, gradually as we come to the transmutation material, especially to the disc with the hole in it, especially with the glasses. We bring all these technologies together. The glasses are visualization. The headphone is for energy transfer of your soul, conversion of opening. The poles are there to bring the energy of the universe to you, then in a way that 80% of you waiting to come is there. How you direct it, how you feed the soul or you feed the physicality. I hold the balls in my hand, but nothing happens. Have you asked your soul? Does not see your physicality ready to see the beauty and the energy it receives? And this is the process we gradually have to bring. When you receive these cosmic material in the bowl with you in the next few weeks, don't play with them unless you are really ready to see the beauty of the Creator. These are not jokes. These are not gameplay. Coming together, they are like the egg and the sperm, each one in one hand. Then we show you how to bring the energy. It doesn't come by holding your hand. It's a specific way we transfer the energy, and then you understand the whole process of transmutation.
Mr. Keshe, sorry, thank you for that. So I wanted to clarify something. So that when I saw those people, I felt with those people. I've been looking at the war situation and following it like many people on planet Earth, and I feel a deep sadness and shame for humanity that we're still doing this. And I felt it very, very powerfully in my body. And so I was connecting with it. And then when I went on the second phase, I went through the Magrav. I connected with this military operation or something like this. I'm not sure what it was. But I really didn't want to be part of this. I would never do such a thing. And I'm not sure what it was. But when I went the first phase, when I was happily just holding two ganzes in my hand, as you said, and I placed the Magrav beside me with a jar of, I think it was CO2 on top that was linked to the others. That was a more happy place, and it didn't. It may have been planet Earth, but it seemed like it was more than that. I had many different remote viewing sort of situations of all sorts of things, countless numbers. So it's really sometimes do we control the focus, or is it something that you're unaware of? It's subconscious that's actually guiding you or positioning you. How does that work?
It's your soul and your emotion. It's, you have to understand and in a way distinguish between the emotion of the soul and the emotion of soul of physicality and the emotion of the what I call the interaction of the two. In the emotion of soul of physicality, we cry or we shout or we laugh or whatever. In the dimension of the soul of physicality and the soul of the man, we take different dimension of strength. It is very interesting, and I'm sure every single one of us has had this feeling somewhere in our lifetime. We cross the street, we sit next to people, we touch each other in deliberate or undeliberate way, and it's just a touch. But somebody touches us, stranger or a friend, a lover or whatever, and that touch, single skin touch, or look, which is the energy itself, creates a mayhem within us emotionally. Emotion of love, emotion of belonging, emotion of fear, and it's just that touch, skin touch, reaction and interaction of that touch. That is the emotion of physicality. in interaction with the soul of physicality. Then if you understand this, which all of you have, we have felt, a woman, a man we love just touches us and the whole body goes into shiver and shakes. We hold just a child and the whole world changes, is not another meter away, everything is in what we wanted. Just touching and holding our child. Now, if you understand this, try to understand what I call the shake hand, the touch of the fields of the soul of physicality with the soul of the man, which can create the same kind of emotion. And God help you if you ever feel that emotion. And if it's in the level of giving from the soul to the soul of physicality, it'll change your life. The emotion it creates is so powerful that nothing on this planet worth living for. So it's a sensation in which dimension and what strength it comes to. And how you hold. And what you expected and what you received. I spoke before about my granddaughters. I've always been a father. When I hold my sons in my arm, my world is complete. But when I held my granddaughter for the first time, the feels, the emotion was overwhelming. It was more than I ever could give or take from my children. And that emotion I always felt is the emotion of the soul, because I have no physical connection to. I'm the grandfather. But in that few days, few weeks of life of this young child, dimension is different. My love for my children is on the dimension of the physical soul of physicality. Physicality, God gave life to them. With this little life is totally different. Is emotion of the souls. Physicality has nothing to do with it. And this is what we have to feel, the emotion of the soul. And if we mature to this, then when it comes to the children of Mitra, when you hug them, you hug the soul of the Creator. And that brings a different dimension of emotion. Then you ask yourself question, do I want the dimension of physicality, or do I want a higher order emotion, which I never knew? So you have to learn how to target, you have to learn how to understand yourself, your dimension of the fields, and what was my intention that it brought me, or has this brought me to enlighten me to understand? When you say you saw soldiers or whatever, people in green, was this a level to bring you to a new dimension, to see another type of life? But for you, converts into arms and legs, because this way how you know creatures, there are things who have intelligence. There is something important why we as humans, most of the dreams we have, or what we call transmutation to our soul we see shapes and lives with very much humanoid structure, because in our brain we have put a filter that Anything which has a structure and intelligence has to be man-looking. And will have an intelligence, will talk and everything else. And this is part of the problems, our evolution, and not understanding the power of our soul. We don't expect to see a dog talking and running an aircraft or being a passenger of the universe and the rest of it, because to our filtering system in our soul of physicality and physicality, this thing cannot be. So we give them image of a man that we understand they have intelligence, then they walk and they're talking, even though in reality they just could be a field. Perception by conversion of information. So the green man, the man you saw in the uniform, whether actually as a man or your brain converted it, because then you understand you can talk to them, they have intelligence and they do something. Watch children cartoon and see how the dog is a firefighter and a dog is a rescuer and a dog is a president, and watch another cartoon where a cat does the same thing. Children have no perception of, you have to have a body of a man to have intellect to run a power station or run a fire engine and the rest. They accept it because we have not formed them to the shape of the man. And this is the whole beauty with the, what I call teletransportation, communication line of the field strength of the amino acid of the man and nothing else. If you could change the field strength of your amino acid, you might see the same green man in a different shape and color and not in a human form. And this is one of the biggest points that why most of the lives you see with intelligence, you tend to get them to look like human, have a leg, arm and eyes. It's the filter you have created over billions of years for conversion of the energy side to matter state that you can make sense of it. It takes time, but man gradually will learn it.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. I totally understand what you're saying there. And one thing I always wanted to ask you a question. What is the question you would like a government or a man or a woman, someone to ask you that would really, that you need to, to express and to show?
What do you mean?
What is the one question maybe from somebody within humanity who holds a position would come to you and ask you, Mehran, will ask you for peace on planet Earth or peace within man, a question that would open everything up? Is there a question that you would like asked from us?
Not really. It's just, I always say, my asking is, when man would mature. As you know, in past few weeks, more or less, my time is spent in trying to bring sense into what you call world leaders in different ways. I spend time with ambassadors and embassies and diplomats and politicians. In past few weeks, I've traveled God knows where and what to make a sense or bring a sense to world leaders or the governments. And it's amazing how they shy away. How they shy away. And I asked in a very different way. I showed all the pros and cons of taking this step to go to war, or bringing a technology which can change the dimension of the war. And as I said, we hope for the enlightenment for Ayatollah Khamenei of Iran. He's the only one, literally is head to head. My wishes and his physical reaction. There's nobody in between. And would he bring the wisdom of knowledge to religion? Because you have to understand, you see a star formation in the skies of Tel Aviv. Once you go out with this and show, and man starts understanding the next step in science and technology, then it comes, is there a place for religion? If they go to the extent of the knowledge which we have taught in past years, then it comes their position and their position. We show this. I have to go somewhere and get you a picture which I ask Rick then to share it with you, or put them next to each other. Give me a few seconds if I can find a picture. This goes to President Biden and the American administration. If I can find this picture, I'll explain to you in a very, very simple way. $25,000 pictures. It's important to bring a sense to this. If you go, I don't know if Rick can do it because I have the pictures here. If you can go to, oh, I know where. Oh, where the heck did I put this picture? Okay, I found it. These are exactly what you see in the skies of Tel Aviv. Is exactly what Americans on the back of the Keshe Foundation, what we call the star formation, have put application in European American patent, and they want us to accept as something different. Rick, I'll put two pictures up if you can bring them next to each other. and then you bring it into, what do you call it, into Zoom. I want you to see a reality and a dream. This is the dream of American, you see in the bottom picture, on a stolen patent technology of the Keshe Foundation, submitted by American Navy in 2020 to create such a technology. And this is the reality of the same thing on the horizon of Tel Aviv on 1st of October. Iran has achieved Americans' dream. Why can't we use this knowledge to stop what sits at the bottom of this picture, where thousands and thousands of Israelis got killed? A third of Israeli Air Force literally got wiped out with pilots inside the plane. You do not want me to release the facts what happened on 1st of October to Israel. A wife doesn't fled if she doesn't know this is what they're going to do to her. You're crazy enough, you will stay, I'm going. This is a difference. This is the reality, and this is a dream of a nation who always likes to create conflict. And they have submitted patent for it, where there is no patent for it. It's already in the skies. And this is where my request came, and I put it directly to Ayatollah Khamenei this morning before the teaching. Let's go for the science and abandon war. If the Iranian government decides to show this technology online with the presence of Ayatollah Khamenei, nobody else, this will tell the Americans, do you want us to fight with us? Isn't this what happened to you on the skies of Tel Aviv 30 days ago? Or are we going to play the child game of weapon technology and dreaming what it could be like this? This is from the patent of Mr. Pius, the American thief. You go and see his patent, he shows you a full, what do you call it, star formation in his patent.
Mr. Keshe, haven't these what you've just shown on screen, haven't they been around for some time though? I mean, many people have reported that they've been around for a long time.
If you've been to Isfahan, some Japanese a few years ago recorded actually the craft on flight. We don't know how it happened. It was not supposed to be there. It happened to be there. And some Japanese tourists in Isfahan, because Isfahan is a point of flight systems of Iran. We have different test areas. And that was one of the reasons we chose Isfahan for the demonstration of the flight system, because the technology is already there. But let's see how it takes shapes. But yes, it's been in, Iran has shown this. It's the first time. For weeks they've been telling me, we have a technology, the light technology. And I said to them, this technology is mine. You took it from me. You developed it. So let's bring it out. I wonder which side Ayatollah Khamenei decide. And there's a big gap, what we call a dream and the reality. That's why American Israelis and the West has to deny this, because they're so far behind in technology. They're extremely behind in technology. So they have to deny it doesn't exist, because then he allows us to go into war.
Mr. Keshe, are they, what we're looking on screen, are they non-tangible or tangible?
Man-powered, controlled.
Would that have a soul?
Of course he has. The structure of this technology is beyond understanding. It's not beyond, it's just if you deny it, you can do whatever you've done up to now. You got to understand why the Americans are in this, what do you call it, denial position and covering everything up. Because if you have it, we don't have it, where does our superiority comes? How can we call ourselves a superior nation when we actually are far beyond in technology? And this is the problem. I was with a diplomat a couple of days ago. He came into the meeting with half uniform, of course military. And when I finished talking to him, he walked out maybe a meter shorter than what he came in for. And in the discussion, I explained to him clearly where we stand scientifically and what we want from his government. He said, Mr. Keshe, can I have your email? I said, there it is. I gave him my phone. I said, I know who you are. Write yourself an email. And it's interesting how the bigger claim they make in who they are, the harder it's for them to accept the, what do you call it, the reality about their, what I call weakness or lack of understanding. And this sits with all of them, without fail. We cannot change it. This is the way they are, it's the way they structure their brain, and they see themselves as superior and nobody else can have better than us. So everything else is wrong and is denied. So the fact does not change.
Mr. Keshe, you say it's the Americans, but is it the Americans? Is it everybody that's connected with this? And it all leads back to theology in the end. Is this, nothing's changed?
It's the persona which they have created. It's not this, it's no difference. I tell you something, it's the same with the Chinese. I was meeting some time ago with a very close relative, more or less direct line to President Xi, for dinner. And we have a long term, 6-7 years of connection. We meet regular basis in Beijing, because he conveys my thinking to the President of China. And those of you who are around me They know how I communicate. I have different systems of communication with different countries. We were invited to his private house, and out of politeness, and because we discussed some really detailed political, diplomatic, and whatever Chinese government structure, I left my telephone bag downstairs out of secrecy or whatever, being safe. It was the same with his entourage. There were, I think, about 10, 15 of us around the dinner table, as you've seen the Chinese way, you were sitting around the circle and we shared everything. After about 2 or 3 hours of dinner, it was a beautiful time. When I came down and I took my telephone bag, later on I said to the national security of the Chinese government, why did you go through my phones when they were with you? They denied. They said, this is not what they do. This is not the way the Chinese operate. This is an insult. I said to them that this is not an insult. This is how you have done, and you have gone into my telephone while it was in your possession downstairs. It brought a lot of harshness. It brought a lot of...
Recording in progress.
One second. It brought a lot of, what do you call it? Not a good feeling that they did not do so. Interesting enough, I had to go through my files, and I noticed every picture taken with him, his office, his officers, and dinners. We had many times dinners together. Every time pictures were taken as a memorial, with a United Nations, African United Nations ambassador with us. All have been deleted. I went through all the files, and I thought, that's crazy. Why no other pictures except all, maybe what, 30, 40 pictures with him, with the, what do you call it, the very high level officials of Chinese government, all been deleted. And they deny doing it. Strange enough, they don't know, all my phones gets backed up on a regular basis. I went to the hard disks and they're all there. And it gave me a very interesting insight. Why do governments, why do people go to the extent to do things like this? To deny the future presence, to deny their feebleness, to deny whatever else. And I said to Chinese security people later on, I will publish these pictures one day. You should have never gone to my phone. You should have never deleted your phone, my pictures. These are historical, and they are important for the future for people. When the Keshe Foundation comes out of the hand of the fox, and to be fox. So Americans do the same as the Chinese do. The Chinese do the same as the Unions do. They hide things that does not suit them, or they destroy things that they do not suit them. And it's the same with all of them. It's power. Losing power. Or denying for themselves not to have the power. Or in the future being pointed at, you were in a position, why didn't you do something about it? It's very interesting if you study culture of what's going on around Keshe Foundation. Iran, as you see on the picture, has developed it and denies it, uses it. Americans dream about it, and then they deny the Keshe Foundation. Chinese have it, but they still steal it, and they still deny the technology works. Denial in 3 different directions. And interesting enough, we still carry on teaching. As I always said, a father never looks on the behavior of the children. The love of the father never changes for a child. And does not matter which one of the children. You just give love and you nourish, and one day they become wise. And that's all we do. And that's all our job is to do, without expectation. The strength, the depth of you blocking Keshe Foundation in every way and dimension is so extensive that the denial will bite them very soon, the way what you see on the screen. "15 years of research since 2008 has gone for you to see the lights on the horizon of Tel Aviv. Why should it go and disappear if Iran goes into war, where it can become a stepping stone and change the life of man? You all know what this star formation can do, can create transportation with the speed of light beyond imagination. You go into the actual video of these lights, the way they come. They come on one by one, and they disappear, they appear one by one. And the Israelis shoot at the light because they cannot have a physical connection on the radar. That's what you see comes out in anti-aircraft missiles and the missiles. Each one of these lights you see as a speck where I showed before, each one costs tens of thousands of dollars to shoot in the air. When you see these anti-missiles, each one is thousands of dollars going into the sky, coming down with nothing. That barrage of what you see, these are not anti-aircraft, these are anti-missiles. These are all hundreds of thousands set up. And it's still worth nothing in front of the machine. It just lights off like that. And it needs maturity of our board leaders to understand. Any other question?
Mr. K, sorry if I'm allowed to ask one more question, Mr. K. When people do these things, we know on another level, on the soul level, that they are rebalancing themselves, and there's always a balanced position where you have to pay back for an interaction, an action, a thought, a deed, whatever it is. And by deleting something, does that change their position on a soul level, that ultimately all of this is going to be part of, they're part of the totality, and they are in a field of interactions, and they are maneuvering something that they shouldn't do? How does that affect them? How does that affect them personally on a soul level?
They've done this so often that they don't consider it at all affecting them. But in a way it does. It's the line of communication. It's what brings out. It's what it shows. And how they end up in their lives and the way they are in their living. It's for them to see, and it happens so often that to them is irrelevant. They do not consider it. They just see there's something I can do. I have the power of.
They're affecting many different physicalities and souls, Mr. Keshe, and we all have to interact.
Yes, you see, we always have to intuit something happens. You look at the Palestine. 40,000 have died. 1/3 children. Let's say 1/3 of these children's parents will survive. For the next years to come, even if they manage to create another children, the pain of the loss of that child will be with them and will be transferred through. Now you have to understand that comes off the books of Mr. Netanyahu, the American president, the guy who built the bullets, the guy who transported the bullets, the guy who fired the bullets, and the rest of it. It's for both sides. It's not just for the Arabs or the Israelis or the rest of it. But if man understands what it means to take another life, man will walk away from a lot of it, unless he doesn't care about it, but in a way he will care about it. We cannot change it. And once what we call the maturity comes, that you can see the connection between your soul and your physicality, what this does affect the other, people will start then changing direction and dimension. I was 22, 23 years old. I went for a project to a government. The government officer said, "You're in the wrong place. Go to this office." I went to the new office. The guy in front of me pulled a drawer, put, those days, if you remember, was folded printers on the computers on the table, the white sheets, if you remember, with the holes on the side, they go about maybe 30, 40 centimeter high. He said to me, "Mr. Keshe, we don't need this, what you're bringing us. We need what's in here." I said, "What's in there?" It was a list of weapons. They said, "When you came, they know how we can get this, we want this." I said, "You know something? You can keep it on your desk. I don't even touch it. I never touch weapon. I never touch anything which takes another life." That part, I knew what I can make. I would have made millions out of it. Because I knew every piece where I can get. I looked into it. I didn't know what it was. When I looked, I realized what it is. And I said, no. I chose not to have a lot of, what do you call it, worthless numbers in the bank account, than maybe one piece of that taking a life. And that was when I was 22, 23. I came home. I said to my mom, "Do you know what happened?" And I explained to her. She said, "You never change, do you? You never sell anything for the money. When it comes to your soul, when it comes to your ethos." I said, "What's the use? I have to pay for it, and I don't like to pay heavy for it." We choose. It's our choice. And some people choose a different way. It's the same. It's not the first time I explained to you what happened with IRA in Northern Ireland. When MI5, MI6 people told me in Manchester, Mehran, you're not English, you're putting your life. I said, it's worth it because it saves life. And it's the same today with Iran and Israel war. I'm at a high risk. Any of them decides a bullet, it's gone. But it's worth taking that chance that maybe not another child in Palestine or in Iran or somewhere else dies. And this is what you judge. The judgment comes from you. I prefer to suffer and whatever and the pressures of the Keshe Foundation. And then what was the suffering and the death of one child that it, or a father or mother that the child becomes, because that'll go on for decades, that pain. And this is how they have to decide, and it's their decision. Everybody makes their own bed and they sleeps in it.
Mr. Keshe, I see someone's written something in the chat that's very beautiful about the wishes for humanity as part of the creation of bringing a permanent peace to ourselves, this planet and beyond. The path of peace is through the Keshe Foundation, as already well known by the world leaders, and to bring into public domain. Time for change, time to move as shown today. Thank you, Mr. Keshe, for all you do. For all. Thank you.
It takes a long time to change a naughty child to a good child. And this child is very naughty.
We are present with you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you.
Any other question?
We have a couple of more questions here. I'm just looking through. Previous in the chat from Stephanie. Let me read it through. She says the theta healing modality is a prayer technique to connect to the creator of all that is by merging into a white light in a plane of existence called the seventh plane of existence. From there, we reprogram belief systems. From this theta brainwave, the subconscious mind, once beliefs change, reality construct shifts. Question: as we reprogram our mind and replace negative emotions and undo the limitations of the mind, we then appear to get closer consciously with our soul connection. What is your view on belief transforming with elevating the soul? Thank you.
Belief is a wavelength. It's energy. And so your energy can change a lot of things, depends if you give to it or you take from it. You call it a belief. I look at it a different way. What you believe in, you work in dimension of, you create energy for it, and you spend that energy on it. And it's as simple as that. So, does your belief changes something? If you understand belief or emotion as part of the energy of the physicality of the man, yes, it does, because it's transferable. Any other question?
She has a further question. So when we wake up in a dream, can we stay in that reality of the dream instead of returning to this one? Is this transmutation in your definition?
You can do anything once you understand how it works. It's like walking. Once you learn to walk, you can jump, you can dance, you can do whatever you like. Any other question?
see, we've got the Q&A covered. They've got the webinar chat covered. I'm just looking at
Yes,
our
we can call it
YouTube.
a day.
I think you want to. How about one more question from Peng Peter? Well, there's actually a question too from Anna that maybe Dean or someone from the UK group can help. She's asking, where can I find someone that teaches the technology in London, UK?
Cowes is your best point.
How do they contact that?
Oh, contact KF, we put you in touch with Cowes.
Okay.
We have a lot of good people in. Jonathan is there. A lot of people in London.
Well, there's
Depends there's a bunch of what I call MI5 and MI6 people. You know about it.
Are they in the Telegram group, or is the Telegram
Oh yeah, a
group
couple of them
separate
are in
one?
Telegram group. They're in English Telegram. Going on the English Telegram group.
I tried to find the link there and I couldn't find it in the group. So maybe Dean or
No,
someone could put the link in the YouTube. That would be great.
Carl says, I am present, he's here. There is a number of people in the UK. You got the Stefania, it's the best one. She travels all over the God knows country. Italian, given the freedom of England, God help the English with it. But
Okay. Okay is passing his information on there. I'm not sure if they can connect that way. They'll find a way, I'm sure. Yes, there was one other question perhaps you can answer with Peng Peter, who says, what's the difference between the spaceship, which we are a spaceship that's to be showing in Iran, and the one that's being promoted during, or usually being promoted during our break, the Universal Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit?
pardon? Can you repeat?
What's the difference between the spaceship showing in Iran that's expected to be shown in Iran and the one that's promoted in our intermission often the flight enhancement
Very,
spaceship?
very, 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 very different. Very, very different. Extremely different. Totally, totally different. It's different fuel, it's different technology. Very different. What you see in the sky of Tel Aviv, the system is primitive compared to where we are in technology. We have stepped into the universal energy, and when you are not aware of the knowledge and technology, when you look at this, what we see on the screen with the formation of the three systems, these three systems create a dome. But it is part of what we call the same technology, but what I call different understanding of it. And more advancements in technology. This is a matter of state transportation, where we talk about transmutation. If you go very much further into understanding, you see the lights in the sky. Now, they had to create a physical condition to create this. Now imagine you can do the same with your soul. And This is what the evolutionary science is. And we are developing continuously into next step and next step. We can teach, but if it's not understood, it's difficult. So even with our research, it takes time because our scientists have to understand the technology that they can apply it. I set the framework of where we're going 2 or 3 years ago in the lab, and it's taken 2 or 3 years, step by step. We go to next step, but in essence, the principle hasn't changed. Knowledge cannot be force-fed. Knowledge needs to be understood. And this is a knowledge of creation. It has to touch the soul. Then it teaches the physicality. And that's the difference. Any other question?
Perhaps one more with Claudia, who is asking in the chat.
Have you seen something very interesting on the chat? A guy called Jalal, he says, no raised hand for Jalal today.
Yeah, very suspicious comment. It makes us wonder about all the unasked questions now. Clever, Jalal. But just above his comment is Claudia's comment, is how is the research team in EUA? Is that maybe the same as UAE? Or is it EUA?
EUA, I don't know what the EUA is.
European Union something? Or is it UAE? USA. USA, she says.
USA.
Right, that was one of her questions.
Our operation in USA has more or less come to a halt. We do not research as such directly as Keshe Foundation. And everything is concentrated in 2 or 3 labs, 1 public, 2 hidden, for security reasons. The whole structure of the Keshe Foundation is dismantled in USA about a year ago now. And we are concentrating primarily in 3 locations, and we keep it that way.
Okay. We do have a hand up with Azar. Maybe you would be gracious enough to allow her to speak.
Yes.
Go ahead,
Hi,
Azar.
Mr. Keshe. Hi, Nick. Hi, everyone. I have a question about this star formation. When they showed up in Tel Aviv sky, it's supposed to hit the Israeli defense system, so the missile from Hamas.
These are entirely defense, which means attracting and creating fields is not there for attack. There is a reason they use this, and this.
If they are.
Pardon? There is a reason this technology was used. It's not for offensive; it's for diversion and defense. You just go on the internet, you see this video so clearly. Many people have posted it now. But while we were watching live the situation from people who were posting things, we could see this live. And I said to one of the knowledge seekers who was near me, and said, look, they're using the technology, and that's the beauty of it. The biggest problem is why Iran doesn't use it for its own defense. This is something which has puzzled me, that we shouldn't have that kind of losses last week or 3-4 days ago in Iran. But that's something which has baffled me, why this was not put in action, because it could have changed a lot of things.
Maybe they consider it kind of an ace card to keep held back until the time is right.
There's no more time. You have to understand American. It's very interesting if you see one of the pictures on the internet a couple of years ago. There's a picture of Iran and about 10 or 15 American bases around Iran. Afghanistan, Pakistan, God knows, Saudi, Qatar, Iraq, in northern Iran and the rest of it. And he says, why are these Iranians so close to us? If you understand.
Yes, I've seen that.
Yeah.
It's if you see a map of the area, it's like the Iran is the void in the middle, and there's just completely surrounded by U.S. bases all in every country around Iran.
Don't forget, the Americans used to have the base in Iran for years. Iran was one of the only bases they had for years. The peanut man changed it.
Mr. Carter.
Mr. Carter, the peanut man. So you see, we have a very big problem in Iran. Some of our own diplomats, some of our own politicians, some of our own ministers carry 2 or 3 different passports in their pocket. And this is the problem. We do not have people who are thoroughly loyal to the nation. They're loyal to their pocket. And many times we have seen it in international negotiations. It's come out, it's not something hidden. You call about Mr. Nazif, who was the head of negotiation with Iran 5+1, if you remember it, during Rouhani. Now he's become a minister, or like a position of like an advisor to prime minister or to the president. But it's very interesting. He's educated in US, it's on the internet, you can go and check. He's done a national military service as an American army, as a Marine, that kind of thing. And he's come to Iran to be a minister and negotiator. And that's why we couldn't go anywhere. He was just working for his own pocket. He has 2 American passports with 2 different names in his pocket, that if one gets caught, he can jump with the other one. And this guy does not work for Iran, he works for his paymasters. Check it, he's got his PhD in US, he's got his military service. He never served in Iran military or army or anything. He just brought in to be the next president of Iran when they create mess in Iran. And this is our problem. And it's the same with half of the Iranian cabinet. They have 2 or 3 passports in their pockets and hundreds of different bank accounts in Rothschild family accounts nobody can find. And this is the pitfall with many nations. It's not Iran, this is not typical. Most of the ministers around the world carry other nations' passport in case they jump. Any other question? And how shall we call it?
I think that's
Jalal finds his question one day. No problem. Shall we call it a day?
Yes, I think you've earned your keep here today. Thank you, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much. Just remember that tomorrow we don't have a session because it's 1st of November. Many knowledge seekers in Europe will not be able to come. And we announced the session for Iran after we know the outcome of this conflict. It still will be held, and people who register will be invited, the same proposition. And we hope we should be able to carry on. I received a note from our webmaster people. There are new products, new packages of products for New Year. Christmas will be posted in different combination gift bags. And we thank you for your support in that direction. Thank you very much. And see you hopefully next week.
Great. Thank you very much, Mr. Keshe. Once
There is
again,
something here which just I forgot. The gentleman who was asking for the French farming, contact Joel Picardo in France. He does all the farming in French community. He can help you with it. Thank you
yeah,
very much.
I think Joel offered in the chat here, so
Yeah.
hopefully they can make that connection.
Yeah. Thank you very much. And see you next week.
Very good. Okay, well, that wraps up our 562nd Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, Halloween Day, October 31st, 2024. And thank you all for being here and participating in today's workshop. And let me see, our next public teaching workshop will be coming up the following Tuesday, November 5th. And that's with the One Planet, One Nation, One Race for Justice and World Peace, with members and support members of the Universal Council who will be presenting that program based on the soul-based aspects of the Universal Council. Okay, thank you everyone, and we'll go out with our usual manner, the Flight Enhancement Spaceship Unit, and again, thank you everyone for being here.